Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Masks Off. I'm Kim,
And I'm Tia.
and we're so excited to be here with you. I actually feel like we haven't recorded in a while. This feels weird. I don't remember the last time we recorded.
Yeah, because we did that weekend one instead. And then
Yes.
did we do one last week? No, we did on the weekend. That's why.
We did on the weekend. It feels weird. So anyway, it feels so good to be back here and recording again. And as always, I will begin with our quote. So the stories we tell ourselves shape our lives. They shape who we believe we are. And this belief translates into who we become. Okay, I forgot already. Will you help me with the name? John
Assaraf.
Assaraf. Thank you. Thank you.
I think.
So yes, we hope. So anyway, this came up for me this morning. Well, it came up in conversation, and the stories we tell ourselves shape our lives. I was like, oh my gosh, I was telling Tia that I feel like I'm in a valley or I'm about to fall off the cliff into an abyss. And we did process a little bit before coming on for recording. So we're going to share with you the process and what we've come up with. So it is end of October. We are into fall. We are moving well into winter, and it is October 2020. And coronavirus is still very, very much alive and present. And in fact, it's growing. The spread is growing. So what I shared earlier with Tia is that I have noticed that I have been feeling more angst, fear, concern, worry about coronavirus. I didn't even mention that I had that furniture delivery this morning, which is why we're recording later. And a couple months ago, I wouldn't have even really thought twice about this the way that I did today. So this is even more interesting. So the two guys came to deliver the furniture. One had his mask on, but below his nose. The other had his mask on, but under his chin. So his mouth and nose were completely exposed, right? So then they come in.
Why even have it on? Just curious.
Right, why even? Yeah, exactly. So they come in my house, and they have to make several trips up the stairs and whatever. They were here and they put everything in the room and then they left. And I noticed myself, first of all, feeling very anxious. So I went in another room. Like when they were in the house, I went in another room. And when they left, I went and got the wipes and I wiped down all the doorknobs. I got out the Lysol and sprayed. I didn't do that like a month ago or 2 months ago. And I could have had the same situation going on. Now, was that a smart thing to do? Yes, it still is a smart and good thing to do. Right. My point is that what has changed for me between now, today, 1 month ago, 2 months ago, or throughout the whole summer.
When you were not as fearful.
When I was not as fearful. Right. I was like just living my life. What has changed is the story that I'm telling myself, and the stories are coming from the increased amount of articles that I'm reading, the increase in the amount of news that I'm watching. And I keep hearing the story over and over and over. Coronavirus is on the rise, and this is going to happen, and we're headed for a horrible winter, and Fauci says it's going to be, blah, blah, blah. And this
2022 before we start to have any
2022. And it doesn't mean that he's wrong or that stuff can't happen. It could. Either way, it's future based.
Yep.
It's in the future, whatever they are predicting, even if they're 100% right, everything they predict that's going to happen, it's not happening now.
Right.
It's not happening today. Right. I mean, it's happening. The increase in the spread is happening. Hospitals are becoming overwhelmed and healthcare workers are more overwhelmed. There is this pandemic fatigue. That's all happening.
Right.
But I'm saying for me right now in my life, that's creating the angst and the worry and the fear that I've been experiencing. in my world right now, it's not happening to me. I'm
Right.
safe. I'm healthy. I'm okay. I'm taking precautions.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that's different is what's going on in the mind
The story
and
you're
the
telling
stories.
yourself.
And it's shaping my, so my thoughts, my feelings, and then how I'm behaving, because I'm feeling, because of the worry and the fear and the anxiety, I'm feeling more like the anxiety is having an effect on my overall well-being and how I'm showing up daily.
So do you feel that it's showing up more subconsciously? Like it's being sneakier? Like a month or two ago, you may have noticed it. And then you're like, oh, there you are, my friend. No, I'm not going to get on that train and follow it. And now do you feel that it's coming in and it's like, oh, I better check the news. What are the numbers today? Or like, do you feel it's driving your choices right now?
100%.
More so.
100%. And it had been for a few days until I just am catching it. Like now,
Right.
we're processing it now. I'm catching it. I'm aware now. I've had the aha light bulb moment now, but, and here's the other thing that I think is probably common for a lot of us is it's not just the coronavirus. I have a bunch of other things going on that are similar, that are making me feel like I'm in this valley. So when I have all of this stuff coming at me, and even that, listen how I say that. I've made a judgment about that.
Yeah.
Because it just is.
Coming
life,
at you.
It's coming at me.
But is it?
But is it really? It's just life.
Right.
So we just have coronaviruses out there. I have a workload. I have a family. I have a spouse. I have this. I have that.
You have this class and this.
I have this class. I have this workshop. They're just all neutral events. They're just neutral. They just are.
Right. Right. And that is such a hard thing for people to understand. You know, and we've talked about it earlier. And I do have a glitchy internet right now. So if you're listening or watching and it kind of glitches, I apologize for that. I don't know if they're working on it here, but it's been a little glitchy. I just feel like I just glitched for a sec. But understanding that everything that happens is just neutral. It just is. It's not good or bad. It's when we attach that story, that belief, that meaning that we were talking about before we hit record.
Absolutely.
Then it becomes something bigger than it actually is. Numbers are rising. That's a fact. That is what it is. I live in Wisconsin. We are one of the hot spots right now in the country. Is it bad? I mean, you could say it's bad, but it just is. Okay, so now what do we do with it? Am I taking more precautions than before? What is happening? What can I control? What can't I control? So if I start to worry, which I was sharing with you before you hit record, it's like, it's noticing so much is out of my control, but I can't do anything about that. Literally, I cannot do anything about what other choices and politicians and everything is happening around me. But what I can control is, am I going to get worried and anxious, which is going to cause more angst in my life? And trust me, it's come in. Don't get me wrong. It's come in, and I've had to reevaluate a couple things. But then do I stay stuck there? I'm trying not to. I'm trying to be like, okay, like you said, am I safe right now in my house talking with you?
I think
I know I am.
Yeah, that's the key. I love that you just said that, because that's what I feel happened to me and happens to a lot of us, is getting stuck, right? It's when it starts to, like, it did sneak in, and it does sneak in. When I say it, what's it? The thoughts, right? The thoughts is what sneaks in. The worry, the fear, they all come from thoughts, originally. And then just getting stuck in it instead of just watching it. You know, we talk about this a lot in a lot of episodes, but I think it's just so important to keep on talking about this particular topic, because I even started out this morning saying to you, Tia, what am I doing? What's going on? You know what I mean? Am I just perpetuating my own suffering right now? Did I create my valley because I'm stuck in the stories that I'm telling myself? Did I,
Right.
you know, am I going down this landslide and I'm allowing myself to keep going because of the thoughts and the stories? Or is it really real?
Right.
And I'm really,
And I think it's important to recognize too that sometimes things can just pile on. That just is,
yeah.
so following what you just talked about, you have a lot going on, right? So maybe it is slowing down, maybe it is creating a valley, but how you interact with the valley you're in are your beliefs, are the meaning you're putting onto this versus, hey, this is just a temporary situation. This is just where I am. Okay, so now I'm going to make a conscious choice. What can I do about Corona? Well, because you mentioned you're watching more news, reading more articles. Maybe back off that a little bit. Take that added external influence out. Okay, so with all the pressure pulling you this way with family or work or whatever else, well, what can I focus on right now?
And when I do that, I feel better about my list of things to do. When I do take, we talked about this before, like when I just take one thing at a time. And then when I don't get into, as I was sharing, like some things, the comparison, like in terms of, it's more about, is this good enough? It's about, is what I'm doing good enough?
People pleaser.
Perfectionist.
People
pleaser, right? Yeah. Is the podcast good enough? Am I doing a good enough job for my clients? Like that's a big one coming up. I mean, I spent hours and hours trying to prepare for a coaching session, just to make sure that it's really, really, really good. Do I need to can I back off that a little bit more? And just, oh my gosh, it's so intertwined. It's crazy.
And it all is. How can they all be independent? Really?
I know.
Because I'm just, it's a web.
It is. And just to watch how those masks, like just saying that out, I'm just realizing there comes the people pleaser mask, comes marching in. Hello, sneaking in, coming in, the perfectionist mask. Hello, you got to be absolutely perfect for every client. You got to,
go over and beyond what you need to do.
Over and beyond. Yeah.
Over, what's the word? Over
deliver.
Thank you. Yes. That's exactly
over deliver.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because what will they think if they don't get the outcome that they want or the outcome they're expecting? When I know I'm showing up and doing my best. Go ahead.
Well, and it comes back to control. You can control showing up for those sessions, but your client has to show up too, because you can do everything as you need to. You can be as fully present, say everything that is in alignment and, that truth, that following your intuition. And if they're not present, they can't receive it. So you can, no matter what, it's a co-creation. And so your client still has to be able to receive, make those changes, be all in,
You know what? And that I'm so glad that you said that, because that is, oh my goodness, this is crazy how this is coming up like this. We always right in the moment. So I was in that space with my clients of just, showing up and being present and just being completely open and like what needs to come through me comes through me, and that kind of thing, and not worrying about expectations, just whatever the client needs from me, let it be. And I was in that space and like, it worked really well. And particularly this one client who I felt like I wasn't sure taking him on because it was a really, really complicated situation. But I let go of any attachment to the outcome. And the outcome was actually like really a good win for him. And then I had another client afterwards, same thing, but different issue, but I showed up for her the same way. And she didn't initially have the success or outcome that she wanted. And we're going to be working in a couple more sessions. And then I feel like that's where I feel like, okay, what was it me?
Right.
Was it me? Do I need to? Yeah. I didn't so I need to amp it up. I need to amp it up. But it just is. It just is. It doesn't mean that I didn't give enough in that session. It doesn't necessarily mean that she didn't give enough in that session. It just is what it is right now. But I attach so many stories to that. So many stories and so many masks become attached to that particular situation. It's crazy.
So are you noticing, because in summer you felt more in flow, you were able to meet Corona where it was with your worry you had from the spring, especially being in New York, so you were in the hot spot in the spring.
That's right.
And so in summer, and then with clients, and you talked about the client the one that you went in without expectations.
Yeah.
And now you had a different experience, but you're also more worried about Corona and more worried about some other stuff. So do you notice that it's bleeding into everything else?
100%.
And so you don't even know what started it. Was it your fear of Corona that started it? Was it you had an experience with a client that didn't give the results exactly how you expected, even though they're going to happen when they're going to happen, because that's how this work is. So it's like, it's like an avalanche on a mountain, one little boulder goes and then they all go. So I'm almost feeling like you mentioned being on the path and going to fall in the abyss. So how can you stop that cycle and that avalanche of, you're already doing it.
Yeah. Well, just realizing how much of the story I'm telling myself in one of the events has trickled into the others. Right. It's like being able to see that now, and I can have some separation and some space.
Right.
It gives me more breathing room. Is it funny?
Sorry, I'm distracted today. One of the cats decided to literally smush himself on this little thing where all these knickknacks are. I'm just waiting for a crash, just warning. If you hear a crash, it's because he's trying to get out of the situation.
That's so funny.
So your awareness is up.
Yes.
And so you're recognizing the stories you've been telling yourself. And we'll continue this in the next episode, because I think it's really important to dive in a a little more into this.
Into the antidote.
But not
overwhelm
too much in each episode. But
I know that. Yeah, let's save that for the next episode. Absolutely. Okay. So we laid the groundwork for, and again, we just use our own experiences to help illustrate what many of us are experiencing and going through.
Definitely.
And so that we can realize we're not in it alone.
Absolutely.
We're not in this alone. We all go through some version of what I'm sharing. And so, so let's save the what can we do about this kind of thing for the next episode.
All right. So if you're feeling similar and you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed, because many people are right now, stay tuned for the next one. We'll talk a little more about how we've been unraveling today.
Yes. Thank you everyone for watching, listening. We really, really appreciate your support. And as always, like, comment, and subscribe.
Thanks so much. Bye.